Hello there, welcome to another edition of Echoes of Silence. I was not planning on making a video today, and yet this morning when I opened up my news and saw the South African reporting on the whole Babes Wadumo case, I thought I need to speak up and say something. This is a prime example, once again, of women being underreported as perpetrators in domestic violence. For you who didn't follow the story, what basically happened was, in short, Monday, there went an Instagram video live from Babes where she was assaulted allegedly by her boyfriend, Mandla Mapinsa Mapamulo. He has been arrested for the assault on her, and immediately there was a public outcry. The Daily Maverick reported on a women's rally for her. The whole country were horrified. Minister Nathi Mthethwa said he was horrified and he wanted her to press charges. Immediately, she received support for the, well, it was on video. She got assaulted. In the meantime, what the South African then reported on this morning was there's now assault charges laid against her. She and three other women assaulted a woman in a guest house, and now the charges are against her as well. Mandla Mapinsa Mapamulo said about her, when he was accused, and what it boils down to is, he said that she attacked him in the past, that she has a drinking problem. He says she had beat him in front of his family and he endured her abuse for far too long. That when the police arrived at the incident, she was so intoxicated she was unable to stand on her own. The police claimed that police told her that she could not open a case while she was drunk. He then says that she woke him up by slapping him on the mouth with a hard flip-flop shoe. He accused Wadumo of entrapping him via the video by provoking him. He said she started out just tapping her, and then he didn't slap her at first. He said she was violent and when she was drunk. And the whole story is just this very long history of abuse. And it seems that it is coming a lot from her side. A lot of women find it very hard to believe that women can be abusive. There's a lot of stories, and if you read the stories about men who are abused by the female partners in their lives, it often starts with small things like pulling the hair at the back of your neck, pulling your ears. It is annoying and it hurts, but it's not that bad. So when the real slapping and the real violence start occurring, you've already been mind numb that it's not that bad, and it just continues until you find yourself in a relationship where you are being abused by someone, by your female counterpart, a woman abuser, and psychologically you've been so drained and broken down that you don't think you can get out of that relationship. But this is not covered in news. It is like it's always been swept under the carpet. It's an agenda that we don't speak about. Whenever you would speak to any women rights activists and people fighting gender violence, being masculine is equal to being the perpetrator in domestic violence, which is not the case, as now clearly visible in this scenario with Babes Wadumo and Mandla Mapamulo. And this is why I had to say something. I want this guy to receive more media coverage. I want people to rally for him, to stand up for his rights, for acknowledging the fact that he, as a man, has been suffering abuse by this woman. But you don't hear Mmusi Maimane speaking up now. Now he's silent. You don't hear any group rallying out and say, oh, we need to stand up and the crimes against him was horrific. Nobody. Because the society is so into the whole mantra, women are victims. In last year, the crime statistics for 2018, 985 children were murdered in South Africa. That is a horrific number. No child should be murdered. No child should be harmed. And when you think back about the main murder stories that were covered, you think about Courtney Peterson, and a lot of other girl names pop up. Less than a third of these children that were murdered were girls. 294 of the 985 children that got murdered were girls. My question is, why don't we report more? Why don't we read more stories reporting on the murders of boys? Why are boys being considered as disposables? If a boy gets murdered, it doesn't make main news. Boys get raped as well. Boys get murdered as well. This is the start of the whole mentality that violence against men are fine. But as long as it's a woman, we don't speak about it. But as soon as the woman becomes the victim, then the whole world is on about it. What I am asking here is, in cases where a woman do get assaulted, we can't just automatically assume that she was the victim. Maybe sometimes we need to go and find out, wasn't she the perpetrator for a very long time? And the guy, the man in this relationship, was defending himself. Violence is not the answer. No, Musi, you cannot fight violence with violence. Fighting Mandla Mapinsa Mapumulo is not the answer, and it's just really a sick voting exercise. But we have to start acknowledging that women are not always the victims. The problem of domestic violence will never be solved as long as we only listen to one part of the story. So yeah, that is it. I hope this story gets massive media coverage. And for once, a man's side of the story will be heard. And that he will be able to tell his story about how abusive she was towards him. And that in a way, he can become a voice for all the men who are suffering violence and assault, verbal abuse, physical abuse from the female partners in their lives, and who are remaining quiet about it because they are embarrassed to say something, they won't be believed, and they are mocked at police stations. There's a reason why the suicide rate under men are exponentially more than women. We have support systems in place for women. We have nothing for men. So, let's push the story, get it out there, get justice for the men and the boys who are being abused and murdered in this country. That's all for now. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.